Breaking: former chief of army staff reveals that the service chief can only leave office when they want to or whenever the president decides to sack them. Okay, a former chief of army staff, COAS, Lieutenant General Alani Akinrinade, retired, has made it clear that the sacking of the heads of the Nigerian Armed Forces is at the discretion of the president, who is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and not based on a tenure as widely believed. Okay, he added that the service chief could resign if they felt they do not have anything new to contribute again or wait to be sacked by the president. Okay, and meanwhile, there have been calls for the sacking of the service chiefs recently due to the worsening insecurity situation in the country, and the Senate last week called on President Muhammadu Buhari to sack them. Okay, asked in an interview if he supports the calls that the service chiefs should go, Akinrinade said that the president has the power to either sack the service chiefs or retain them. His exact words: a service chief can resign, but sacking them is at the discretion of the president. When you get to that position, you are serving at the discretion of the president. If he wants you to go, then you leave. If you have served and you feel that you do not have anything again to contribute, then you can approach the president and tell him, or you can write to your minister, who will deliver such letter to the president to tell him that you will like to leave. But if you are not interested in leaving, you wait for the president to tell you to leave. There is no tenure, and that is the problem. It is not stated anywhere that you have to serve as the chief of army staff for 4 years or as chief of defense staff for 2 years. There is no tenure. Well, meanwhile, Akinrinade added that the civil service rule stipulating retirement for anybody who has served for 35 years, which he said had been extended to the armed forces, is not helpful to the nation at times. He stated that some persons might join the armed forces early and will still be productive after spending 35 years in service. He added the civil service rule, which has been extended to the forces now, that if you have served for 35 years, you should leave. I do not particularly think this is a good idea, because somebody can serve for 35 years and he or she is only 56 years old. As such person reach the climax of their productive life, if the person is doing well, are we going to just kick out such person because they have served for 35 years? These are matters which we have installed in our system, but which are not necessarily productive at some point. Okay, and I think there's a lot of senses in this aspect. Meanwhile, he also insisted that a service chief can resign, but sacking them is at the discretion of the president. When you get to that position, you are serving at the discretion of the president. There have been calls for the sacking of service chief, though, due to the worsening insecurity in the country. But if you are not interested in leaving, you wait for the president to tell you to leave. There is no tenure, and that is the problem. It is not stated anywhere that you have to serve as the chief of army staff for 4 years or as a chief of defense staff for 2 years. There is no tenure. Well, Akinrinade has said a lot about this, and on social media, people have their mind, and in fact people are like, you are very stupid and you are just talking rubbish. So if you are a permanent secretary in the civil service, you remain there till death do you part. If you are made a chief judge, attorney general, inspector general, etc., your tenure continues till death do you part. Well, meanwhile, nonsense talk, and that is what people have said so far. And it is also gathered that as long as they are serving the interest of the president, despite all advice from the Senate and House of Representatives to change them, considering the killings and kidnappings of innocent people in the country, as long as they are serving the president's interests, nobody has say. That is another one that has been said so far on Twitter. Well, Yorubas always speaking with their two sides of the mouth. That is what guest has said so far. Well, meanwhile, birds of the same feather, this man has his own share in the system. Those retired COAs as their own return every month. They have their own return every month from the president. Well, that is what we have heard so far. Well, they are banned by public service rule on retirement 60 years of age or 35 years of service, whichever comes first. God help Nigeria. Wow, that is serious. Well, that is another one. Meanwhile, let me have more takes from you, and remember to subscribe for more updates. Thanks and God bless.